Hi humans, and welcome to the Unleash and Unveil community. Today I'm going to teach you how to start your spiritual business with $0 and 0 following. Let's dive right in. If you're new to this channel, my name is Melissa Ruiz. I'm a spiritual business mentor, and I've been doing this thing online for 4 years. I scaled my business to the first 100K in 7 months, then 400K in 14 months. And then check this out, I hit $1 million in sales in 26 months while I was swimming in Tulum. And I'm gonna break down every single step that I took because I know in my heart, I can feel it. There is somebody watching this that is gonna change your life. But first, let's go back to the beginning. There's this misconception that when we hear these stories, we think, well, this person must have had money saved in the bank account. They must have known somebody. They must have done a ton of mindset work and read all of the books. They must have been prepared. But that's absolutely not the story that I'm going to give you. Because when I started this business, my back was up against the wall. I had just moved through getting a divorce. I had just gotten fired from, by the way, my 13-year career as a TV producer, where that was all I knew. And I was in the worst financial situation that I had ever been. I found myself being one of those people who had been just living paycheck to paycheck and just getting by. So when you hear these stories, allow yourself and your mind to completely open, because it takes grit, it takes determination, it takes will and work to get to whatever it is that you want. Your manifestations don't come out of the sky. If success was so easy, everybody would be doing it. I'm gonna walk you through how I did this without a following, without paid ads, with really nobody knowing it. If you're thinking that my TV career helped me here, you're absolutely wrong. They are completely different worlds. In fact, there was a lot of shame when I first started my business because I felt like I went to school for producing. I should be behind the camera. What am I doing? I'm not this person. It's cringe. How can I be the person that's in front of the camera creating these things? I literally wanted nothing to do with it. But when you have no choice but to succeed, you would be surprised at how fast you figure it out. And so my first question for you is, if there was no way you can fail, how would you show up differently today? You see, I'm going to walk you through the story of what happened to me, because once upon a time, as I was working my job full time, I was emotionally a mess. I found myself not happy. I found myself drinking, smoking, doing all these crazy stuff, which, by the way, if you're doing that, it doesn't matter. But for me, I was really harming and polluting my body. And the thing that I really want you to listen into was I just wasn't happy. I had gained all of the material thing with the job and all the other stuff, but I was not in a place of fulfillment and satisfaction. So I sought out this yoga teacher training in Morocco, and I was scared as hell to go because I just knew somehow my intuition told me that if I went, my whole life was going to change. And it actually really did. I was so afraid to take 20-something days off. So when I went to tell my boss, they were kind of already pissed off, like, whoa, that's a lot of days off. And I was flying all the way across out of nowhere to do something that I didn't even want to teach. I was just going because I felt like I can get some mental relief. I had just started to practice a little bit, and this person invited me, which, by the way, I said no to the opportunity to go to Morocco to do my yoga teacher training 3 times before I actually said yes. And the reason why this part is important is because it just really shows you how limiting beliefs operate. In my mind, why would I go all the way over there when I never wanted to become a teacher? Why would I go all the way over there when I felt like it was a waste of time? There was so many things happening during that moment where I felt like I'm just not worthy. Who am I to do all of that? And there's actually going to be no point. So it's going to be a little bit of a waste of time. And so finally, I got to this place where I said to myself, when are you just going to do something for yourself? And it was in that moment where I said, fuck it, let's go. What's the worst that can happen? Well, there was a moment where I was on a hammock in Morocco, and I'll never forget, I was looking up to the sky and I was telling universe, oh my gosh, I wish I can manifest more of this. I had never felt that much peace in my life. Well, be careful what you say to the universe, because the next day there was a sandstorm. My flight got delayed. And as I went to write this email to my boss and let him know that my flight got delayed, and I already felt guilty that I was taking off so many days, I got an email back. As I was walking through TSA and about to board my plane back home, you're fired. We don't need you anymore. And it was in that moment that something profound happened. This inner fire lit up, and I said to myself, I'm never going to allow anybody to fire me. And then the second thing that happened was I went into full panic. I went back home. I ended up going to the office where I lived. There was a leasing office and this event coordinator that I knew. And I was letting them know, oh my God, I came back from Morocco. I have this yoga teacher training certificate. Do you need a teacher here? Because I see you don't have any classes. And the reason why this part is important is because I've never met somebody who has not worked their ass off to create opportunities for themselves. If you think an opportunity is just gonna present itself and you're just gonna trip over it, you're wrong. I've never met a real one that has not walked the fire. And when I say walk the fire, I mean you gotta believe in what you're doing more than anybody else. Because guess what? You have no cheerleaders. When you start your business, you have nothing. You don't have that clout. And so quickly, I started teaching one day, and then one day became 3 days, and 3 days became every day. And then all of a sudden, I started to run retreats. I started to host events. I started to teach across the street at the CrossFit gym. And little by little, all of that started to happen. But my question to you is, if you could not fail, how would you show up? Because for me, I couldn't fail. You see, everybody in my life could have failed me, but I all of a sudden started to build this inner confidence and strength within my inner being and my inner child that I was not going to let myself down. That no matter what I did, as long as I stood the course and I worked hard for the things that I wanted, I was going to succeed. And now I want to transition and I want to talk to you about who are the 1% and how can you adopt the mindset of the 1%ers. Do you think success is easy? If success was easy, everybody would be doing it. But you know the reason why it's so difficult? It's because it requires discipline. It requires you doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again without you seeing a result and you just knowing somewhere deep down inside that all the chips are stacking up and that when things start aligning, you're just going to take off. And it reminds me of this story of as I was practicing yoga and teaching, I remember there was this moment where I felt like, does this even work? Is anything changing? But I didn't know this was the compound effect. I was building and cashing in on those resilient chips because indeed, one day I did wake up and the way I thought about life completely changed. The things that bothered me no longer bothered me anymore. The things that I viewed as problems actually weren't problems to me anymore. The mindset of somebody who is in the 1% bracket has grit, determination. They're not taking no for an answer. And this is going to be a little controversial, I know. They're obsessed with what they're doing. There's this school of thought that if you're obsessed with your work, then you're toxic. But I found that the people that I follow, the people who have achieved a certain level of success, they love what they do. And better yet, they found and they've anchored into a big reason why they wake up every single day and they chip at that goal. And I can tell you, it's not because they want to be seen, and it's rarely ever motivated by money. There is something so deep within them that makes them bounce back up every single time they want to quit. They're doing it for their kids, they're doing it for their mom, they're doing it for themselves, they're doing it for some other reason that is so much bigger than their fear and than their ego. And for me, I found myself in that position too. I decided that my journey was happiness, and I'm addicted to that. And this work of sharing is so special and so meaningful to me that I would do it actually if nobody paid me. So it's quite interesting that people actually do. Not only do you have to have the mindset of a 1%er, you gotta find a way to be around them. That's your job. If you don't have the financial means to get in a course or to hire a coach, guess what you have? You have your time and you have your love. And that is a resource that you can use. And so when I was at the beginning, I spent my entire time on YouTube University. I spent my entire time building and forging connections with people, real people online, where I was commenting on their stuff and connecting with them and asking them for advice. And I was going to free webinars and I was figuring out what was free in my community. I was taking trains and buses, all in order to get around those types of people, because I just knew if I put myself in position, if I put myself in the room, if I just connected connected with them, I knew that something was shifting me. And that's how you do it when you have no money. You have all of the time in the world, so get to it. Now, after you've done that, you now start thinking about your niche. I want all of you to start to think about, if I could just do one thing that I'm really good at and I'm really passionate about, what would it be? And so for me, it was yoga and meditation. I didn't realize that in the beginning, I was just doing it because I had come back from Morocco with the certificate and I had to work, even though it was only $50 a class. And the thing that's so interesting about that is that I traveled the most that year. I did so many beautiful things and opportunities kept coming my way, left and right. I remember, I'll never forget, I was laying by my pool and one of my neighbors told me that they wanted to hire me because they knew I was a yoga teacher and they wanted to pay me $3,000 if I could teach at their university. I was shocked. I've gotten paid $50. I've gotten paid $100. But there's something about being in that energetic flow that just makes things happen. So pick a category and pick a niche. Pick something that you're passionate about. And so I was passionate about that. And the more I did it, the more I realized I think I could make a business out of this. Let me just put it online. And that's how I was able to create my very first course. It was $350. It was called Unleash and Unveil into Harmony, where I taught people yoga, meditation, which by the way, all of this shit you can Google. But you know what? I wanted to do it because I had the inkling to do it, because I had the desire to do it, because there was something about me doing it that actually made me more. It made me more of who I am. It made me self-discover. I felt so good holding space for people. And so it was both ways. It was good for the community because I really so wanted to show up in the BIPOC space and for so many beautiful people of color that had not experienced yoga and meditation and mindfulness. I really wanted to just share this with them because it had changed my life. I had now been meditating for 7 years. I've now vegan for 7 years, and my outlook on life has radically changed. And I wanted to scream it from the rooftops to tell people, you gotta find something like that. And that's how you find your category and you put it out there. How? Create a course. How? Maybe do some coaching, maybe create a PDF, maybe start a YouTube channel, maybe start a podcast channel. I mean, literally, the possibilities are endless. There should literally be no excuses. We are in the day and age of the internet. Do you know how powerful this thing is? This is my personal microphone. I can speak into this microphone and reach hundreds, millions, billions, and I want to reach even more than that. So how can you create a positive impact in the world by using your gifts and your dharma and your purpose, and start there? You don't need a fancy website. You don't need to go viral. All you need is proof of concept. All you need is to be good at something and put it out there. And maybe in the beginning you offer it for free and just get some testimonials and see who likes it and make it better and refine it by feedback. And the last thing I'm going to share with you is to connect to your community and your audience. The worst thing you can do is build something and just keep your eye on making more money and the next thing. I built my business with one course for the first 6 figures. Once I did that, I got into multiple 6 figures with just 2 courses. And so what I'm sharing with you is that before I was anybody online, I was somebody to people in my community. I was hosting retreats to the people in my building, to the people who lived 4 or 5 blocks, to the people in the studios where I was teaching. I was creating those connections, walking into studios saying, hey, I have this certificate, want to hire me? That's how you start to forge relationships and you build real community. So by the time I actually started to share online, yeah, I didn't have a following online, but I had a community behind me. And that's ultimately the best thing that you can ever build in your business. Humans, if you like this and you want to know more about how I was able to attract abundance, especially during that year, that sabbatical where I was just teaching and just showing up for my community, I actually have this free 3-video course. It's absolutely free. Just click the link in the bio, and every single day I teach you how to connect to the energy of abundance. If you found this video useful, hit the subscribe and make sure you hit the notifications, as I am coming hot with these videos every single week, every single Monday at 12. Go with peace, go with God.